for their purpose, but they are no substitute for brains.
All right, here we go.
I have to say, well done, Ray. Well done. Well played, my adversary. Well played.
Phoenix isn't gay, but if he was, he'd pick free mode.
Oh yeah, he'd be living down there with you in the bunker, man. Woo!
Once you go free, you always do the Z.
Like one day of not going to Duncan, and you could get a controller, a new Xbox, possibly even a cord.
And now here are your technically challenged hosts.
Welcome to BGFG episode 435. I'm your host, Chris Phoenix, and joining me, as always, my brother from another mother, Mr. Fremo Z. How are you doing this week, sir?
I'm doing well. Let me land this thing, and I'll be right with you.
All
right.
So it's been a while.
You have my full divided attention.
That's good. I appreciate that. It's been a wild week.
Did you even catch that?
No.
Okay. Maybe you'll get it on
the replay
when you're editing.
It's possible.
I said my full and divided attention.
Divided, yeah. Okay. Now I get it. How are you doing this week?
We're doing, brother. We're doing.
Oh, it's fucking cold. I don't understand. I hate to sound like an old man, because I am, but the weather's killing me. Like today is 19 degrees, yet tomorrow is going to be closer to 50.
Yeah, it was like 23 when I got up this morning.
My body can't handle that kind of shift.
It's going to be 60 something before the day's over.
What is it now? Oh, it's breached 30 degrees.
Yeah, it's going to be like a 40-degree temperature change.
Oh, that just hurts my knees and my hips.
My sinuses are like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. All right, let's get into this week's news because there is a lot of stuff to cover this week. BGFG News. You heard it here third. What?
I tried calling you, but nothing happened.
Well, first up in this week's news, I don't know if you noticed on Thursday, if you're an AT&T subscriber, but you might have been down a service.
Yeah.
You don't have AT&T, do you?
Nope.
So we do, and everybody in my family, or everybody on my plan currently still, lost service except me. For some reason, I didn't have a problem at all, but everybody else did, and it was a nationwide outage. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Everyone's iPhone went into SOS mode. What? You're shaking your head.
It just tickles me. This is a glimpse, just a little teeny tiny glimpse of what happens to our country when it's the fan. I love it.
So I thought it was funny because AT&T, as they're making the announcements and stuff, they are literally saying in every aspect, this is not a cyber attack. Not at all.
Okay.
Don't look over here. Nothing to see here. Ooh, look at that.
They said, but it was a process error. The application and the execution of an incorrect process used as we were expanding our network. This was not a cyber attack. Like every time they made a comment, they ended it with, this was not a cyber attack. Verizon and T-Mobile customers.
Then I want to know who they fired for fat fingering a config file.
Oh,
that
yeah,
got pushed
somebody's
out.
gone. Somebody's gone. They did say that Verizon and T-Mobile customers were also affected, but again, as I deal with the public, there is so many idiots that don't understand how things work and immediately point fingers. This was basically Verizon and T-Mobile customers that were trying to get in contact with AT&T customers.
Yeah, it wasn't that other carriers had an issue. They just couldn't contact somebody running AT&T.
So the outage was triggered, and then it was corrected 11 hours later. It doesn't seem like that long because most people got up at like 5, 6 in the morning, or 6 or 7 in the morning, and the outage had already been triggered for like 3 hours. So
Yeah.
it was.
So I was you know how I like to read through comments and different things.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you see what the San Francisco? I think it was the emergency services.
Yeah.
Might have been fire services, but
Yeah.
they told people, quit calling 911. This is not an emergency. If you need to call 911 and you can't, then get in contact with, and I'm not even going to bother to finish that sentence. If you need 911 and you can't call, then
get to a
get a hold of
landline.
get a hold of your brother, your sister, your parent, somebody whose phone's working.
Yeah, it's not rocket science.
90% of the people out there, if they're on AT&T, everybody in their family's on AT&T.
Yeah. Yep.
It's not like, oh, well, I'm going to give little Billy AT&T and little Susie Verizon, and we're going to stick little Jimmy that we don't really like over there on T-Mobile. I mean, come on, really?
In the morning local news, they started interviewing people, and people were mad, like legit angry, and they were saying that they're gonna change their carriers as soon as the carrier comes back up. I'm like, I thought it was funny because all the coverage, there's very few that
Those
stated
are the same people that are going to leave the country if this person or that person gets elected, or if this person doesn't go to jail, or if that person. I mean,
But the thing that
get over yourself.
the thing that made me chuckle was the fact that all of these interviews that I saw, very few said it was about they were worried about loved ones and they couldn't get a hold of that. There was people that were saying like, I do all my business on my phone. We've talked about that in the show before. You're going to be some
You're
kind
an
of
idiot.
asshat to do all your business on your cell phone. That
You're
is
an
just
idiot.
stupid.
Yeah.
And still, some of them were saying, well, I felt out of touch with everybody. You can't scroll through your social media?
You want me to translate that for you?
Yes, please.
I also don't have Wi-Fi, and I couldn't update my Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't get
Felt
on
so out of
Instagram.
touch.
Yeah,
I
right.
couldn't see how many likes I got on my video I posted last night.
Oh, in unrelated news, nationwide work productivity shot way up.
Right. Well,
Nobody
I
can be on their fucking
guess I'll
phones.
do some work.
Yeah, exactly. I can't use my fucking phone. Oh, I fucking hate stupid people. But the argument keeps coming up because of Chinese malware. So I think it was right at the time when some white papers were dumped from I want to say espionage or hacking. It depends on how you want to look at it. But it was around the same time that all of this happened, which is why I think AT&T turned around and kept saying it's not a cyber attack. But as we point out here on the show, go ahead.
I think it was satellite related.
I don't disagree with you.
Because you know the infrastructure as well as I do.
Yeah.
The cell tower gets affected, they'll just bounce you to a different cell tower.
Yep. Ring and ring technology.
And they've got fiber. AT&T has fiber lines crisscrossing the country, so it couldn't have been a fiber outage.
Right.
There's enough redundancy that it wasn't, oh, we pushed a bad config file.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you.
So to me, the only link out there that could cause that would be satellite.
Yeah.
Which is feeding all of your towers.
Right. It's yeah. Yep. And the FBI.
And China just recently launched a satellite that supposedly can disrupt other satellites. I'm just saying.
The FBI came out mysteriously in the same couple of days. The FBI came out and said how hard the Chinese government is trying to gain access to our infrastructure. They recently distrusted, I guess you could say, a Chinese hacking group called Volt Typhoon, and the white paper appears that they specifically spoke about gaining access to our infrastructure in this paper. So, if you have and let us explain a little bit the infrastructure, meaning cell phones, electrical grid, power plants. This all comes in the infrastructure, and they're constantly being attacked. We spoke episodes ago about an electrical power plant that was compromised because the administrator password was 1234. And this is
Yeah.
just waiting for people to get in.
See, this is what I don't understand. Why don't we just cut China's line to the internet?
Because I believe, I thought about this too. I believe it's because there is rules in place with the UN and many, many governments.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, wait, let's backpedal a second.
We had oh man, we sent these guys out to do some work, and I mean I've had it happen to me at a place where I worked where we had some contractors in and they were cutting through some drywall and just right through the main fiber coming into the building. I mean, you can recover from that, but it takes a little bit.
Well, let's backpedal a little bit. Some people.
So we were dredging and we accidentally snapped this cable. I'm not sure what it's for.
That happened in the Mediterranean. That did happen.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
But let's backpedal a little bit because I don't think people fully understand.
Basically,
internet...
what I'm saying, China, keep effing around and find out.
All of the DNS servers, everything is from this country, our country. We feed the internet to the rest of the world. Now, do they have their own infrastructures and stuff like China has their own, firewall? You could say yes, but for the most part, if you look at a map of the internet connectivity, you'll see that it all flows through the East Coast. So, if what Fremo's saying is true, we could just shut somebody off.
Right here, see that? Just
yeah, just flip a switch. But the FBI is laser focused on China and what they're trying to do to break in and hack into our infrastructure. And it gets scary. The deeper you go, it does get scary. When the FBI is sitting there saying, look, this is legit. Like we're struggling. We're doing what we can. But malware and stuff like that comes in many, many shapes and sizes. And it's so hard to break into this next story because it's so unbelievably stupid. With that said, with malware and stuff, Russian President Putin just gifted...
all you people, I'm just going to throw this out there just because I haven't dinged Apple in a while. All you people with your iPhones,
leave Apple alone,
that are made in China,
that
come preloaded with TikTok.
Oh yeah, I don't think they're.
Don't think there ain't some hardware in there that they've messed with.
Oh, there's supposed to be all sorts of safety protocols and stuff, but Huawei's phones aren't even allowed in this country because of that. So
yeah, and you think some of that hadn't made it into the iPhone manufacturing process? Come on.
But when you think about malware and the different types of
I can't wait for them to flip the switch one day and everybody's iPhone's in Mandarin.
Russian President Putin gifted a limo.
That would be a hack I'd love to see.
Well, listen, this could be even better. Putin gifted a limo to North Korea's leader, Kim Jong-un. So, I can't even... This cracked me up. We couldn't make this stuff up. The Kremlin spokesman, Dmitry Peskov, confirmed that the gift, stating that it was a full-size luxury sedan called an Urus. It's the same one that Putin uses. And because the two countries are internationally isolated themselves from everybody else, it's believed that Korea is providing artillery, rockets, and missiles for Russia's war efforts. But the thing that really kills me is that you got gifted a high-end luxury vehicle that's supposed to be super safe and super cool and all that. Now, mind you, Kim Jong's sister, who's in charge of a lot of things, is crazy. She's crazy. She said, and I quote, "This gift serves as a clear demonstration of the special personal relations between the top leaders of these countries." Putin, just want to reiterate, Putin gifted a large limousine, fully connected, high technology, to Kim Jong. Do you think for 1 minute there is not microphones, surveillance equipment, possibly a detonator in this car? Like how do you accept a gift like that? South Korea's foreign minister said that the gift breached UN Security Council sanctions, like either one of the other two care.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look at what they do on a regular basis. They could give a rip what the UN says,
Right.
which
Now,
is how we should be.
Kim Jong is definitely going to be getting some calls about his extended warranty for this new
Oh,
limo.
there we go. There we go.
He didn't get paid for that extended warranty once he gets that money from the Nigerian prince. How can you be so foolish to accept this gift? You got nothing. Because see, look, people, when you're listening to the show and both of us, one of us is quiet, it's because the stupidity has reached a level.
There's nothing left to say about this one.
You accepted a gift from Russia. And you think it's okay.
Yeah, maybe it was in good faith.
Right, but you're going to tell me there's no surveillance in this limo? There's not a kill switch
I'm
built
not
in?
saying that. I'm not saying that.
Oh, it's just, and he got it for nothing, so he got a good deal on the vehicle. You have to spend any
Right.
money. Got a new limo for the bubble. Speaking of money, so Apple, as you spoke of before, I wanted to take an opportunity to. Okay, I just want to put it out there because I get called out all the time that I don't put any negative light on Apple. And that's just simply not true. I call them out on stupid shit all the time, like the Vision Pro. But the way they charge developers is literally getting out of hand. And I really hate this business practice that they do. I really, really hate it. I will give them props for having a app store that is pretty good. Not great, it's not perfect, but it is a far cry from the Google Play Store. But the fact that you have charges and it's what it is 30%. Apple gets 30% of anything you do in an app. The app itself, if you're paying for it, Apple gets 30%. If there's microtransactions within the app, Apple gets 30%. Regardless, that's the way they structure it. And developers continue to do this because of the amount of iPhones that are out there. So you have companies like Spotify that blatantly tell people, which I think is great, blatantly tell people if you want to make a purchase, go to our website, make the purchase after you log in, and it'll just float over to your Apple app. Apple got pissed off about that. They're like, we're not getting our cut. What's up with this? And Spotify's like, yeah, you're not getting your cut. It's just that simple. We're having them go to our website. They're purchasing things or making subscription purchases on our website.
Yeah.
You can't control that. It's not our problem. And if you want to throw us off the store, that's a bad idea as well, because somebody's going to find a way to circumvent that and get our app back on. And now with the EU saying that you can sideload outside of the App Store for iPhones, then you can simply go to Spotify's website and download the app, sideload it. But
Interesting.
what?
I'll do a screen capture of that. I'll show you here in a minute.
Okay. So there's another app, which this is the part that had me bring this to the table. There's an app called Insight Timer, and it's a meditation app that has guided sessions with meditation teachers, for lack of a better term. Insight teachers can take tips that the app masks as donations. Apple found out and said, nah, we want our cut. We get 30% of that tip as well because it's an in-app purchase. Timer says that this falls under the guidelines of donations. They're considered donations and not a tip. Apple is saying it is a tip. Now, if they take it to court, it's really going to be shitty because this is a little tiny, this isn't Spotify that has millions of dollars to throw at Joe Rogan. This is a little tiny app called Insight Timer, which helps with meditation. They can't afford to go to court against Apple. And Apple, yes, you're a $4 trillion company and you got there for doing stuff like this. But look, you restructured your contracts with developers so that this sort of thing doesn't happen. So that when you have some in-app purchases like donations, it's not at all like shown. What is this? Connection timed out. On what? What'd you break? broke something. I just don't think that this is like,
No, it's the website that these links are going to.
oh, that's not good. Oh, it could be another
Thanks, China.
compromise that we're gonna that we're gonna talk about. The link in the show is broken. That's great. So, what do you think about this?
No, it's not broken. It'll eventually come up after you hit it enough times. But this particular site, which looks like we sourced most of our articles from this week,
we do. It's often. But what do you think about this with the
they're
30%?
having issues. It's greedy.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's not surprising. I mean, look at the government taxes your income, taxes your purchase, taxes the money you make on the money that you make. I mean, it's just Apple following suit.
Yeah, I don't think it should be done in this.
No,
in this type
you should get your money. I mean, you're hosting the app store. It's your little universe. Take your 30% when someone makes the app purchase. After that, it's between the person and the other company.
Right.
You don't need to be in the middle of it, Apple. Sorry.
And that's been the argument for a long time. A lot of the little games on your phone, those little in-app purchases that you make. Some companies even are blatantly like adding the extra 30% to the purchase to cover the cost.
Yeah, and that's all that's going to happen.
But it just raises the price of
Everything's.
There's no
Yeah,
need.
I know.
Just
Trust
no
me, I get it.
All right. Lastly, this week.
I mean, it's like and this is going to open a can of worms. And I'm not coming down on one side or the other. This is just a real world example that maybe people can wrap their head around. If you raise the minimum wage to $20, $25, whatever, don't think for a minute that it's going to help the workers out. Yeah, they're going to have a bigger paycheck, but the company that they work for and everybody else that has to accommodate that, all they're going to do is pass that cost along to the consumer.
Yep. Every time.
So you're making more money, but everything's going to cost more money. So
yep. Discounts become less. There's it's just.
I mean, it's already. We went to a fast food chain this week.
Mm.
We were out. We just didn't feel like cooking when we got home, and so we just let's just stop and grab something quick. And we even like did the get the 2 for $6 deal, blah blah blah. But after it was said and done, it was still over $20 for 2 fast food meals.
Yes.
For some kind of a sandwich, burger, whatever, fries, and a drink. And it's like $20-something. And I'm just like,
and people can call us old or whatever, but I remember going to, like, if you wanted to take your significant other out to a nice restaurant for a date, that could end up being $90, $100 for that meal. But now you're going to like Outback or Wings and Things, and you're spending the same amount of money. I'm not.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you
just,
go to a chain restaurant like a Outback and Applebee's, Longhorn, Chili's, whatever. It's $50 minimum, and that's if you order whatever the special, buy 2 entrees and blah blah blah. But that doesn't include getting an alcoholic beverage.
Nope.
It doesn't include a gratuity at the end.
No, it doesn't.
I mean, minimum $50.
Yeah.
If you go in and you just order what you want, have a couple of cocktails, you're over 100.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yep.
I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
All right. So
if you get dessert, forget about it.
It's too expensive. You can't get dessert. Lastly, this week we're going to talk about
an extra cherry in my cocktail so I can have dessert tonight, please.
Nice. Elon recently talked a little bit more about the implant business.
Mm-hmm.
First person to be implanted appears to be fully recovered with the Neuralink, and apparently able to control a computer mouse with their thoughts. Oh, it's the beginning of the end.
Yeah. You see how that goes with the psychiatrist after, the post-op psychiatry visit.
And I'm not even sure.
How are you feeling about this? That's great. Are you having any suicidal ideations? No, but I do want to kill humanity.
I'm sorry, did I say that out loud? I'm not sure if Elon was trolling everybody because he does shit like that. But I'm not sure if he was trolling everybody because he did say, and I quote, Neuralink is now trying to get as many mouse button clicks as possible from the patient.
Yeah, that part I'm sure is the troll.
Oh my God, that cracked me up when I read that. I'm like, oh, the Neuralink thing, because we've talked about it on the show, and it does have huge benefits. Paraplegics, just so many things it could help. But the fact that he turns around and says, it's working great, he's operated a mouse. We're trying to get as many mouse clicks as possible. On
What I
what
want to
site?
know is because I know for a fact it's already happened. Like, I don't have proof, but I know for a fact it's already happened. Somebody out there has already contacted Elon about getting the Neuralink because they need to up their game. They need that competitive edge, and they have the money to pay for it.
Not surprising. Not surprising at all. Yeah, that's it for news this week. Let's get into this week's music, which is cool. And I think my microphone arm is finally going the way of the dodo. It's starting to loosen up. This week's music, I thought, let's do something a little bit.
I guess we're going straight into stick style because, yeah, I'm looking. I don't see anything listed under music.
Oh, I didn't list it under music? I'll have to add that later. I forgot. I'm sorry. I did it last minute. So I figured we'd go a little old school. So I guess it's a surprise to Fremo as well. We're going to go a little old school. We're going to do a little Judas.
Original Hank Williams?
A little Judas Priest.
Nice. Which
from
one?
Their Invincible Shield album, we're going to do Crown of Thorns.
Okay.
It's a newer track, pretty cool. And I want to catch you on the other side for some stick style business. More or less, the rest of the show will be I Told You So. We'll catch you on the other side.
But
of course. All right, getting into the next part. Firstly, are you having any beverage today?
I find myself distinctly lacking in the beverage department at the moment. So I'm going to have to rectify.
Yeah, I'm drinking the Hugh Garden again because I have a few left. I love this beer. What a good beer. All right, so let's get into this week's stick style because that should be fun.
Gaming.
So first up in stick style this week, it's definitely a surprise. They just dropped on Xbox Game Pass. They dropped Dead Island 2. This game's been out for just about a year. It's a great looking zombie shooter. Perfectly gory. Just perfectly gory. Single player's fun, but you can add up to 3 multiplayers on co-op. The only downfall is that you have to be a Game Pass Ultimate to get it for free. So we've said before, you should really have a Game Pass Ultimate if you have a PC and you have an Xbox because it works out well. Playing on a PC with all the other games is handy. And speaking of the Xbox stuff, we told you last week about the Xbox announcement of games being shared on other platforms. And it's like we knew these things because the 4 games were announced. And they were exactly what we said that they were going to be. Literally. Sea of Thieves is going to PlayStation 5 on April 30th, which is one of the big ones that they wanted. And it'll be cross-play as well, so that's kind of cool, where you can play between the 2 consoles. Nothing about it being on Switch, though. So, again, we warned you that a lot of these games might not go to Switch because Switch is so geared toward a younger crowd. Pentiment comes to PlayStation and Switch on February 22nd. And like we called it, Hi-Fi Rush goes to the PlayStation on March 19th. No mention of Switch.
The Switch. Yep.
I wonder why with that one. It's just I don't know.
I think we discussed that last week as well.
Grounded goes to PlayStation and Switch on April 16th to be crossplay. And who knows what else, but I predict that we won't see any of the big ones, and we sure as hell are not going to see any more for a while coming out.
Yeah.
I think they just did, here's 4. Have at it.
I think this was a PR move after the whole Activision thing.
You think so? Well,
Yeah.
yeah, because there's not going to be Starfield's not going, Indiana Jones is not going, Halo's not going to go, Gears of War is not going to go. I'd like to see Gears of War as a crossplay on PlayStation, but
Nope.
it's never going to happen. And the Halo franchise is too big.
I don't want to see it. I don't want. Nope.
Why, you don't want to retrain a whole bunch of new people?
You can't give them Gears. You want Gears, you come over here.
Yeah, exactly. I
Period.
completely agree with you.
Period.
100%. But we told you, we called it what the games were going to be. Moving on, NVIDIA actually has a clue now, finally. They're finally testing a unified app for your GPU settings, your update, and your tweaks. They finally are going to put it all in one place, thankfully, instead of having to open 4 different apps or whatever it is. It's in beta right now. They've also redesigned the in-game overlay. I don't know anybody that
Why don't
uses...
you make sure you go ahead and put that app on your computer?
No.
Since it's in beta.
No, not doing that ever again. Took me a freaking week to rebuild this system. I'm not doing it, and it's still stuff that's not working right. But there wasn't a lot of game news this week because I think everybody's kind of like waiting.
Hopefully you've learned over the last 20 years, because I don't know if we've got 20 years for you to get it all worked out again.
Did a backup this morning, by the way, just to let you know. Finally, for news this week, Sony. We've talked about it before. Sony is a heartbreak in so many different ways. They have such potential, and they just simply cannot develop a game. They just won't do it. And now they've given up on their VR. Even after announcing Foglands, Green Hell, and a few other VR games. And their VR2 headset, which I have back here, it's over in the corner, is great for like racing games, and it's really well done. It's well put together. But you have no games for it. And those games...
Because it's on Sony.
Right. And they just suck at developing games and hooking up with other developers. And the games that they announced didn't really get anybody excited at all. And now they've given up to listening to the people that own the device. And people like myself, what would we want in a VR game? Like immersion into classic games, reissue a classic game in VR. Everybody will love it. Maybe not even a game. Maybe you want to do a tour of like ancient Egypt or a museum or something. There's potential there, but Sony just can't see in front of anything. They just suck at, like, they make good hardware. Just try.
Maybe Sony and the History Channel can team up to release some documentaries for it.
That'd be great. That would be, do something, Sony. Just do something. Pay a developer to come up with a game or pay for a game to be cross-platformed. It's just ridiculous. And now they're testing the ability to use the PlayStation VR 2 with PC VR games. Okay, that's a good idea. But again, Sony could have done this in-house. Look at what Microsoft is doing. They're succeeding because they're developing, and you just are not. And they're hoping to make that available this year. And I think that's going to give you access to cool VR titles like Half-Life, Hitman 3, Tabletop Simulator. And one of my favorites is Desktop Plus, which gives you an Apple Vision. I can't wait
to get all of the Tabletop Simulator. You can really get in there and see the wood grain.
Oh, this one's mahogany. Love it. There's so many more jokes. I don't know. I just think that Sony needs to develop their shit better. That's basically what it is. So in wrapping up Stick Style this week, I just want to say that I picked up... I did pick up the Victrix controller, so we're going to be doing an unboxing and testing on that and review that and see what that's going on. I've been playing Helldivers 2.
Cannot wait for you to do that one.
Yeah.
Helldivers. I want to hear garbage.
It's probably what I'm going to say. Helldivers, and again, when it comes to controllers, and I'll revisit this when I do the review, when it comes to controllers, to me, the top of the food chain right now is the PlayStation controller, the DualSense. I think it's the best. And then the original, well, we'll talk about it at the thing, but I'm not going to be super impressed with this, except if it does one thing, which we'll get to another time. I've been playing Helldivers 2. It's available on Steam. Freemo, it's available on Steam this weekend for a discounted price. It is a fun freaking game. If you like Starship Troopers, the movie, you're going to love this game. It's just that simple. Don't get annoyed because you die a lot, but it's super fun. I've been having a great time with it. But even better than that, we have reinvented, reestablished, revigorated Cat and Mouse on Forza Motorsport. So if you don't know what Cat and Mouse is about, I implore you.
And just for those of you who are wondering, yes, Olds and I are currently sitting at a 50% win rate
Oh
of
my
all the
God.
races.
Really? That's some bullshit.
It's true.
Let's get more races under our belt before we start throwing that out there. It's going to get a good part. So the goal, and I've explained this to a couple of car people that I work with that have Xbox. And when I said this to them, it like the light went off and they're like, really? They're like, you could do that? What you do, here's the point of the whole game. One person takes a mouse, which is, we make it a Mini Cooper. The other person is a cat. That cat could be any fast car you want, doesn't matter. Whatever you
Be a
think will
slow
get the job
car
done.
if you want, but
Be
it's not going
pointless.
to do a lot of good for you.
Right. Your job, there's little tiny rules here and there, but your job is that your team, a cat and a mouse, your team has to get your Mini Cooper across the finish line first by any means necessary. And you do it on Nürburgring, which is a huge track. So all you have to
I'm
do.
trying to think of the rules. I can only think of one rule that's been implemented.
Well, the only
And
real,
that is that Olds and I have to swap after 2 consecutive wins.
Okay, well, whatever. You and Olds. The only rule that's actually active consistently is that if you're not the mouse that's in the lead, you shouldn't be getting hit.
That's not true.
Yes, it is.
No, because if my mouse is in the lead, I'm going to hit the second place mouse all day long.
But your mouse in the lead. If you're another cat, you can't hit on a mouse that's not in the lead. Not your team.
Okay.
Whatever. Shake your head all you want.
Okay.
This is why you keep winning, you little cheating bastard.
I keep winning because Olds is a phenom.
He is kind of a phenom with that. All right, let's get for what it's worth, or actually tech news this week. So the first story is something that I was actually in the middle of during the Napster days. So Cox Communications has just been cleared of a $1 billion jury verdict. And this is one of those things I think you and I are going to have fun debating a little bit. It was with several record labels. The 4th District Court of Appeals put down the verdict that the amount of damages wasn't even justified. In 2019, a Virginia jury found Cox liable for over 10,000 copyright infringements, copyright violations. It belonged to Sony Music, Warner Music, and Universal Music. The label's attorney said that Cox is willfully infringing and doesn't care about copyright law. This all stems from a 2018 filing that had 50 labels suing Cox Communications. It seemed like it was kind of a test, like to see what's gonna stick. And we said years ago that you can't possibly blame cable companies for copyright infringement. In the early days of our 30th show, which is right before this show, I used to have behind me hung up DMCA takedown notices for music and stuff all the time. You can't blame Cox Communications for having Napster is a good example, a music sharing service. You can't blame them because their idea, the copyright attorney is saying
you can't blame the tool for how someone's using it.
Well, we've debated that for years now. It's like if Freemo
No, I
puts
agree
up,
with you. You cannot blame the tool
right. If Freemo
for how someone's misusing it.
So if I could explain it a little bit better, if Freemo puts up a movie and I download that movie, I downloaded a copy of the movie. I didn't actually download the movie. I downloaded a copy of it. So who's to blame? The service provider that I did it over? Maybe he has Verizon and I have Cox Communications. Who do you blame? Do you blame Freemo for putting up the movie? Because he just made a copy on his network and his network happened to be wide open and shared. But whose fault is it? You're not taking the actual piece. You're taking a copy of it. It's a very, very gray area that's been dealt with for years, and the record company is absolutely the worst at this. 100% the worst at it. I understand their point of view. Go to the store or go online and buy the actual album or the song that you want. I get that. Or pay Spotify to listen
Yeah.
to that song regularly. I understand that. But if I have a copy of a CD and I want to burn it into my computer, and this is the problem that happened years and years ago, decade ago. I own that physical media, whether it's a DVD or it's a music CD, and I want to rip it into my computer to save for if I have a long trip that I want to use on my iPad, or maybe I want to put it in my car, in the MP3 jukebox in my vehicle. I should have the right to do that. The record companies, again, greed, man, greed. The record companies and the movie industry are saying, no, you can't do that. You don't actually own that disc. What do you mean I don't own the disc? You own the physical. They're saying that you own the physical plastic that the CD is, but you don't own the music that's on it. But I paid you, so what am I paying? A rental fee? Do I have
Yeah.
a $20 CD I'm saying CDs because they're out of. But if I buy an MP3, I can't listen to that on something else. I can't share that with a family member or anything. And what these people are saying is that they want the Cox Communications to stop these people, to ban their accounts, to slow down their connection or whatever else that is. Look,
They need to sue everybody that could possibly be involved in that case. So PC manufacturers,
right.
component manufacturers, the guys that make fiber optic cables, every piece of the puzzle needs to get sued. If that's your mentality, sue everybody.
Right. I mean, my 16-year-old son is upstairs right now.
And guess what?
I don't know what he's
People are
downloading.
still going to share this stuff. You can't get away from it. The best thing you can do is make your product a reasonable price
And availability.
so that people will go that route. But you're never, ever, ever, ever going to get rid of piracy. It's not going to happen.
And I agree
There are
on
people that are committed to it. That is their way
Right.
of life.
And I agree that if you're going to buy, I mean, again, we're talking about physical media in a lot of these ways. And I think that the record company and the movie industry is struggling right now because they don't know how to. Physical media, it's different because you have.
Here's what's coming. Here's what's coming. Because you've got all the components are in place. You've got TPM chips in all your computers now.
Mhm.
It'll eventually be in all your phones, everything else, which, for lack of a better term, is a way that they can uniquely identify a piece of hardware.
Okay.
So when you download a music from Spotify, and this is where they'll have to hash it out and figure out how to handle multiple devices. But just for right now, we'll say that I'm on my laptop, I'm on Spotify, I download a song I want. That file in the download process gets a piece of data added to it that says it can be played on this device.
This has already been done.
And when you go to launch it, are you on the correct device? No, then it won't play. We're back to square one with Sony
exactly.
on their
Exactly.
CDs.
Exactly.
And that's what they're going to do. That's what they're going to do. So
They
my
put,
boycott list is about to get really big.
the point that the thing that Fremo said, for those that don't know, because we do have some listeners that might not remember, that Sony did this with their CDs. So if you ripped a CD into your computer, it immediately put down a rootkit that only allowed you to play that song on that device. It was pretty much locked in. It was a terrible time because it just ruined everything. The software wasn't the rootkit was written like shit, and it was really hurting a lot of people's computers. My bigger problem is that the cable company, like the record companies are telling the cable companies that you need to shut off the people. And the point that I was making is that my 16-year-old's upstairs more or less does good, but how do I know he's not downloading a song from a friend or something. Does that mean that because he did that and I didn't know about it? Oh, watch your kid more. You can't watch every minute that the kid's online. But they want the cable company to shut off the entire household. Me and my wife work from home on occasion. You're gonna. I have to explain to my boss that I can't come to work today remotely because my son downloaded the latest track from Taylor Swift. That's not gonna fly.
You mean John Heder and Drag?
Oh, jeez, can't unsee that. and it's just bad business practice, and I don't understand why it's being pushed like this. It's never worked. They've never succeeded, and they're not going to. And charging $1 billion for that, it's a digital age. This isn't physical media anymore. There's no more Napster or oh shit. What was the other one after Napster? Had a green
LimeWire,
icon.
BearShare. I
LimeWire.
mean, you name it.
Yeah, those are gone. Those aren't really used for much anymore. I mean, they're still out there, but nobody gives a shit anymore because you got Spotify, you got Apple Music, Google. What's Google's? Google's got one too, right?
No,
Oh.
they shut down their Google Music. Yeah, I mean, Spotify is the answer
Pandora.
that the music industry should be embracing.
Right. Exactly
Okay.
right.
Billboard. If you want to keep making money, release the Billboard app.
Yeah. Yep.
And all the songs that are on the Billboard are available instantly to that user.
Right. It's not a big deal. I don't know why they're still. I think it's because they're struggling. Because the big wave in the music industry right now is creating your own material. You're creating your own music and then putting it out online by yourself, whether it be SoundCloud or something else. And it's bypassing. There is so many young artists right now in all genres. There's so many young artists that have no intention of signing a record deal with a major label. None. They have no need for it. They have no want for it. You have people, because we've learned over time, people like Taylor Swift purchase their own catalog. People like Prince fought for the rights to have access or the rights to own their own music that they created instead of the record companies doing it. And back in the day, you had people that would go on to these meetings with the record labels, and they were so excited to get an advance of like $1 million that they didn't look at the paperwork properly and didn't read into it enough and realized that they just lost all the rights to their music. I mean, there's an epic story of Michael Jackson buying the catalog rights to the Beatles music, and Paul McCartney was fucking pissed about it. There's just the rights to your music is what's important, and a lot of these artists now, and it's not bigger ones. Bigger ones can do it because they can create their own labels and such. But even a band as small as Kitty or an individual DJ or somebody like that is releasing mixtapes. That's how Ludacris got started, out of the trunk of his car. And they're releasing mixtapes, and they're holding the rights that are all their music. They don't need. If you look at Tom McDonald, he doesn't need a record label at all. He's up there in the top 10 downloads on most platforms, and he doesn't have a record label. He's doing it himself. And I think that's where big business has to go. And I think a lot of these bigger businesses, big box retailers, all of these companies are struggling right now to figure out how to make ends meet because they're so damn greedy. They can't figure it out.
Embrace what they need to do if they want to keep making money hand over fist off the sheeple. Embrace the matrix and get it in place.
He's
You'll
not
have
wrong.
more money than you ever need.
He's not wrong. And look at what Walmart just did. Walmart just announced that they were going to purchase Vizio. And I read it, and I'm like, okay, you're going to buy a TV company. Okay. Walmart's going to buy it for $2.3 billion.
Can you imagine having a TV and the only ads you ever see are for Walmart and Sam's Club? Because that's what's going to happen.
You know what, Free? You're exactly right. That's what's going to happen. Why
And
Walmart bought Vizio?
They're going to sell those TVs dirt cheap because they're going to make their money on the back end with ad revenue.
You can't
They're
buy.
going to be bombarding people. People are going to be. It's not like it's not already bad enough that everybody shops at Walmart. Now that's the only place anybody's going to shop if they had these TVs.
The thing that
Such as having a sale.
The thing
That's
that
not
burns my
Walmart.
ass is that you can't walk into any sort of retailer and you can't buy a dumb TV. It doesn't exist. You either buy a PC monitor at an adequate size, but there's nothing for your living room. that's going to be I just want to plug in my HDMI ports and watch TV. That doesn't exist. All these smart TVs are getting more. At first, it was just a couple of apps at the bottom, free Crunchyroll or something like that at the bottom, and that was it. You can get connected to you can see YouTube, baby. It's gotten way more advanced to where you can have a smart TV and you can have access to Netflix, Hulu, Apple TV. You can have access to all of these different channels on the interface itself. And Freemo's not lying. What Walmart did was they purchased this not to sell TVs, not to make money. They already sell them in their stores and they sell them in their Sam's Club stores. But maybe they want to get into the TV sales business and development. Maybe no. They're doing this solely to boost their ad business through Vizio's SmartCast operating system, just like Freemo said. It's actually what they want to do. So, like, Freemo's not wrong. You're going to be watching TV, and if you just use the smart TV option and maybe an off-air antenna, you're going to get bombarded with ads for Walmart, for Sam's Club, for anything else they want. And I think it's shitty because these TVs are already complicated enough, especially for the elderly. Oh my gosh, the amount of questions I answer for their TVs. I'm like, I'm not there. I don't know if you're connected to your Wi-Fi. I don't know what you got going on. But it just sucks completely that you have to sift through all of this crap before you can get to the actual channels that you want to watch. And it's going to be so obnoxious. So obnoxious.
Oh yeah, because it won't matter if you're in Hulu and you've paid, what is it, $80-something now for the ad-free version of Hulu?
I pay $96 a month for Hulu Plus TV.
Yeah. Okay. Guess what? If you're running this on a Walmart Vizio,
oh yeah,
Hulu won't be showing you ads, but don't think for a minute that they won't pause every 30 minutes what you're doing.
Yeah.
The Hulu app will pause, be right back. Boom, there's your Walmart ad, and then it'll jump back into Hulu. Don't think
right.
It won't happen.
100% right. Absolutely. That's exactly what's going to happen.
And I also made note that episode 435 on 2/25/2024 at 12:22, Phoenix said, Freemo's not wrong.
Douche. Speaking of obnoxious, did you hear about what NVIDIA said? NVIDIA.
That leader of NVIDIA.
Oh my gosh. The CEO and founder, Jensen Huang, told the World's Government Summit in Dubai that countries need to own the production of their own intelligence. So when I saw that headline, I was like, what are they talking about? They're speaking about, rub your eyes. They're talking about sovereign AI. This is a fucking problem right here. He's saying that each country should create its own sovereign AI. And of course, they said it's going to emphasize a country's ownership over its data and intelligence that it produces. Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying. But you're talking about sovereign. This is why the UAE is moving aggressively on creating large language models.
Dude, all I can think about when I read this article was the Cultural Appropriation Police being founded. You put together an outfit and you're like, I like this. And you're rolling down the street and some AI model out there gets you on a camera and it's like, whoa, wait a minute. That looks like the traditional wear of this country over here. And he doesn't have permission to be wearing those colors in that fashion.
Right. This is going to go sideways so fast. They also said this is going to help them establish themselves as a global information technology hub in the Middle East. Okay, that's already happening with the outsourcing. And I can tell you from working in retail that the outsourcing of their IT customer service is a shit show because you never know if that person on the other end is going to sell your name and number because they do it all the time. I cannot express how often they do that. Where if you're calling, and I'll tell you right now, sheeple, listen up. If you get a phone, if you're calling customer service, anybody, anywhere, and you get told they'll call you right back, hang up and call back the number and try to get somebody else, because all they're doing is they're giving their number, your number, to somebody else to scam you. That's all they're doing. I've seen it happen in so many different criterias of customer service and multiple companies. It's just a shit show. And now they want to use AI to help out with that. Can you imagine every country having its own version of AI? I mean, you can start with the jokes of, like, the Russian one and the Polish one, and you can make those jokes, but it's a scary subject, because these sovereign AIs are going to look out for the best for their country, their home country. So if somebody's getting a cyber attack, that sovereign AI can turn around and attack the shit out of. So say if there's some script kiddies in the Ukraine that try to dial into, I don't know, an infrastructure in electrical infrastructure in Maine. Just a couple of kids try to test out some theories. It's not a global thing. It's not a governmental thing. But the sovereign AI of the U.S. decides that's a cyber attack. We need to take care of that now. And then our sovereign AI crushes the Ukraine's infrastructure. Like, this is...
or a predator drone takes out the physical location.
Right. Either way, it's not good. This is as bad. I would dare say, if they don't control this shit, Free, no joke, if they don't control this shit, we're going to have another Cold War, but on cyber terms. It's going to be a cyber Cold War. It's insane. I mean,
I just want the solar flare to happen.
Shut everybody down.
I've got what I need where I live. I'm fine.
But this is the reason, Free, this is the reason why we need kill switches. 100%. And you had a bunch of professors and scientists from Georgetown University, Oxford University, University of Cambridge, all said the same thing. They have proposed that we create a kill switch for AI. Now, I know where Fremo's going, so let me finish first, because I know exactly what you're going to say. This is why you're shaking your head. People in governments are using AI too many sensitive spots already. Military, power plant infrastructures, electrical grids. We need to prevent Skynet. Go ahead, Fremo.
The only way to prevent Skynet is to stop now. Don't implement anything, period. Because if you end up with AI that is so sophisticated that you need a kill switch, your kill switch ain't going to work.
Correct. 100% correct. It's just, the AI is going to know. It's just that simple. AI is going to do a self-diagnostic, like Data on Star Trek. The AI is going to do a self-diagnostic. Go, what's this over here?
I just had a flashback to my childhood. I'm not positive. I think it was season 1, maybe season 2 of MacGyver.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Where he was brought in to infiltrate this facility that had its own automated security system.
Yeah.
It was like some government facility, and they'd contracted with this company. And so he was supposed to test it to see if it was possible for anybody to get in. Well, of course, it's a MacGyver, so he gets in. Right? Yeah. I mean, low-tech solutions. He does it. He gets in.
Paperclip and toothpaste.
Well, the automated defense system doesn't like this. So it automatically reworks itself in certain ways and then starts trying to kill whoever's still in the facility, whatever. So they go to shut it down and they pull the main power plug. And of course, the machine knew that that's what the people would do. So it had backed itself up so that when they brought the power back online, it came back online. This was in the freaking 80s.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
This is not a new thought on my part. I'm telling you, you don't want AI to take over, you don't build it. Period.
Yeah, that's literally it right there, people. That is the simplest way to say it. Absolutely. This is and people when I talk to people at my place of work, they're all younger than me, and they all have the same thing. They give me that look like, oh, crazy old man. We lived through the Berlin Wall coming down, the Cold War. We've seen how this portrays and lays itself out. Except instead of having nuclear weapons, this is cyber nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
There's things that can be done.
I guarantee you, if you took a poll of younger generations and you asked them, would you rather live through a nuclear winter? Of course, you'd have to explain to them what that is.
Yeah.
Or would you rather have all your technology taken away forever?
Oh. Well, we
They
have the
would opt for
technology.
nuclear
to
winter.
s-
They would opt for nuclear
absolutely.
winter.
We have the technology,
Especially if
to
you did it
survive.
right after, I don't know, say 2:00 this past Thursday.
Facts.
So yeah, I mean, once it gets to the level that we are, and make no mistakes, folks, we're doing everything China's doing. We're doing everything Russia's doing. We're doing everything North Korea's doing. Everybody's doing it. And it's going to get to the point, because once somebody figures it out, you ain't going to keep Pandora in the box. Once
Nope.
somebody crashes, whether it's us crashing someone or someone crashing us, once that happens, it's a free-for-all. Everybody against everybody.
Yep. And the new mercenaries are going to be the hacking groups that are out there, big or small. They're going to be the new mercenaries. You know, you're gonna have people reaching out to these different hacking groups, going, "Hey, can you bring down this infrastructure? Can you, bring down this cable company?" Well, if you bring
That's already happening.
right,
It's already happening.
but I'm saying even on a larger scale, like even a place like Rhode Island is tiny enough. It's got one cable company essentially.
Yeah.
So if you bring that infrastructure down, and we're saying not the company, not the website, think of it differently. If you bring down the repeaters, if you bring down the connections,
You
at the
disrupt
head
the
ends,
satellite connection for AT&T. Oh,
right, you're going to have an entire outage, and that doesn't matter. Whoever's renting the lines, whether it's Cox Communications or another company that's renting those lines, it's all down. It's all gone.
yeah.
And it's a scary time. But all right, that's it for this week. Get anything free?
I don't know. I'm probably going to go listen to some Country Boy Can't Survive real quick.
All right, that's it for this week. Ted's Down, show's over.
Whoop, whoop.
So you can find more of this garbage at bgfgonline.com. You can also send us an email with your questions or suggestions at bgfgshow@gmail.com. Find our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Overcast, Podcast, Castro, Castbox, Podchaser, and YouTube. Thank you for listening.